Hi, Erik Linask here with TMC. We're here at Cloud Expo in New York, and I'm talking with TwinStrata's Nikos Vekiarides. Nikos, thanks for joining me. It's good to see you again.
Thanks, Eric. It's nice to be here.
So, what are some of the things that you've seen? I've heard several people today already talk about what they've seen evolving in the cloud environment and some of the evolution in terms of their customers' needs and requirements. What have you seen since we last spoke?
Well, we started off with storage, so our products are cloud integrated storage, and we allow customers to expand their data storage with virtually zero local footprint, so you can add up to 50 petabytes of storage into your existing environment, and essentially you're saving money on all of the management. You rarely even have to touch a disk to maintain. And maintenance costs of storage tend to be very high. And we all know that data storage continues to grow for most organizations, and one of the best ways to address it is by leveraging cloud storage, and our products allow customers to leverage cloud storage as if it were local. It makes it fast, secure, easy to use, and that's what we've been saying for the past couple of years. And this year, we actually had a new launch, which is disaster recovery as a service. So one of the nice things about putting your data in the cloud, it's now recoverable in the cloud, and we can spin up a VMware environment in the cloud or spin up your servers in the cloud, and now you have a disaster recovery solution. Now the beauty of using the cloud is that it's pay as you go. So unlike traditional disaster recovery solutions where you're just buying more infrastructures, you're maintaining more infrastructures, you're replacing that infrastructure over time, you only use it when you need it. You only use it maybe when you have a disaster test. That could be once a year, that could be twice a year, but effectively, you're only paying for it when you need it, and that's a completely new model for disaster recovery, and it's really taking the cloud model to the next level.
Do businesses understand and recognize the value of that kind of pay-as-you-go model? As you say, it is new in this environment.
I think they really are recognizing the value. In particular, a lot of businesses are struggling with their disaster recovery plans. Some are using tape where it could take them days to recover. We had a hurricane here several months ago, Hurricane Sandy. It cost about $25 billion in business losses, and that's because a lot of these businesses simply weren't prepared. And the reason why they're not is simply the cost. It costs too much, it's a maintenance nightmare, and if you can have disaster recovery on demand, it changes the game completely for a lot of these businesses.
Now, the move from storage to backup and disaster recovery really is a very logical evolution for you. Was that driven by customer demand or otherwise?
Oh, it's very much a natural evolution. It was driven by our customers. Customers love the idea of being able to move their data offsite into the cloud. The clouds have multi-site data protection. And the next logical question is, well, how can I recover that data, especially if it's offsite, and how can I do it faster than bringing it back to a new site? And spinning up your applications in the cloud is the next logical evolution, and now we have it available as part of our products.
Excellent. Nikos, I know we have a demo that we want to get to, but before we go to that, I do want to touch on something that's sort of hot in the media right now, which is the whole question and the issue of government or federal surveillance. And what do you see as the impact on cloud that or the PRISM program that's now being discussed can have?
Well, there's certainly a need for more storage, right? At the end of the day, we're talking about a need for more storage. Certainly there is a lot more surveillance that's being done. All of this has to be stored somewhere. A lot of it is private, some of it is government. But again, it just highlights the need for storage. It even highlights the need of being able to access that storage, whether it's for analytics purposes or so forth. And cloud makes that all possible. It gives you all of that storage in a way that's very readily available.
Do you think it changes the question of trust?
Certainly there's always questions of trust when it comes to cloud. And what we do with our products is we always encrypt all of the data. So with our products you get 256-bit AES security. That means every bit of data is encrypted and you, the user, have the keys. So the beauty of that is that no one else can touch the data, it's virtually unbreakable, and you have the keys, and of course you have to take good care of those keys because if you lose those keys, you may never be able to access your own data as well.
Should we move over to the demo?
Absolutely. And Mike Lee here will show you a little bit of our product. It's the Cloud Array product, to really show you how easy it is and some of the new features that were introduced recently.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, how are you? So, what you're looking at over here in the dashboard is the Cloud Array from TwinStrata, and this is the administrative view of the Cloud Array, so what your administrator will be seeing so that they can monitor the data and what's going up as well as what's coming down from within the cache. On the right-hand side, we see it's called dirty in-cache history and then current cache history on the left-hand side. The way that it works is we have a local cache and then we have the cloud volume that gets presented. The local cache sits on your local infrastructure, and what this does is it allows you to have some data sitting on site, so that way you're not always pulling data down from the cloud, because one of the questions people ask is, well, if I have my data sitting up in the cloud, it's going to take me forever to get it back down, and so what this does is it keeps a certain amount of that data as you specify the size locally, so that way you have your local data, and that's called the dirty data. You can see here, the arrow, my local cache is only 30 gig, I'm running it locally on my machine. If we go down a little bit, we have iSCSI host data transfer and then cloud data transfer. And what this is, it shows what the connection speeds are as far as how quickly the data is coming into the local cache and then how quickly it is going up to the cloud. Now the great part about this setup is, as far as your local network is concerned, all it sees is the volume that you're presenting from the cloud. So if I provision out a 10 terabyte volume, so I'll actually go ahead and show you the volumes that I have provisioned out. In this I have 3 volumes. One's 10 terabyte, and this actually is from an AT&T cloud. I have another volume which is 100 terabytes, and a third volume which is from Google, which is 10 terabytes as well. So as far as my infrastructure is concerned, I now have 120 terabytes worth of local storage that I can go ahead and push stuff up to. So as you can imagine, that's going to greatly expand, the things that you can do. You get your stuff off site, so now you have both data on site and off site. Some of the nice stuff that we can also do with this is, let's say, provisioning wise, I find that local cache isn't large enough. I can actually grow that cache as well. So I can say, hey, you know what, I only have 30 gig worth of space right now. I need 300 gig because I just added 6 more servers that I'm backing up or that I'm taking data and storing it local to. So I can go ahead and provision that out. I have volume details here. Then I have something down here called snapshotting. This snapshotting, you see down the bottom, this is very similar to what you would do with traditional disaster recovery product, but what this does is allows me to take a snapshot or a point in time image of all my data that's sitting in the cloud. So at any point I can go back and mount the snapshot up. As you see here, this one was taken June 5th, this one was taken June 4th. So if I need to recover data from June 4th, I mount the snapshot up and it presents the volume to me just as it was at June 4th when I took that snapshot. So what I actually want to show you also is the last thing here is the cache management. And I just mentioned how I can grow my cache out, and that's the local storage. If I want to grow my cache out, I go into cache management here, I click on scan, and what this is now doing is scanning my interfaces for any new disks that were added to this cloud array. And once it detects any new disks, it gives me that space as additional space I can go ahead and addend on to the existing cache to make it larger. Within here, I actually only have about 3 gig worth of space left on my laptop that I can go ahead and grow it out. So it's not going to be super, super exciting, but that's what this is doing. All right, so you see here I have my 30 gig cache, which is currently in existence. Available cache pools, I have 3.99 gig worth available. We'll go ahead and expand that by 3 gig. And I click on grow cache, it's as simple as that. It just added 3 gig additional to my existing cache. And if I go back to my dashboard, I can prove it. My cache size is now 33 gig. It was 30. So that actually just gave me 3 gig worth of additional local storage, so now the last 33 gig is stored on my local cache instead of up in the cloud.
Now is all that data on the local cache also duplicated in the cloud?
Yes. Yeah, anything that's on the local cache gets automatically duplicated up to the cloud. The great part about having the local cache as well as the cloud is really for bandwidth purposes. So the last 33 gig that is sitting on that local cache, so that way it doesn't slow down. And then in the background, let's just say my cloud speed is 1 meg per second, and then my local bandwidth is a gig-e network. Well, obviously I want things to go at a gig-e network to that volume, and then maybe overnight it's going to go ahead and replicate up automatically to the cloud.
Now, as Nikos and I were talking about, the evolution from storage to disaster recovery is a very logical evolution. What do cloud providers like TwinStrata have to do in order to create the kind of redundancy and resiliency in order to avoid failure on their own site?
Well, the beauty of a product like this and using cloud storage is you're going to have multiple locations where you're storing your data, and for a lot of companies, they can't really afford to have a secondary location to have resiliency in their data. So if the primary location goes down, then they're in trouble because they don't have it replicated off-site. And a lot of people will think of, okay, let's say I have backups of my data, but it's sitting on my NAS, and my NAS is in the same room as my servers. Well, if that server room floods, you're in trouble. And so that's where the beauty of TwinStrata comes in when you couple it with your cloud storage, because when people think about cloud storage, they're like, yes, I need to get my stuff off-site, I need to get it to the cloud, but they're not really sure how to do that. And with this, it's extremely simple to do. Like, I could actually switch over to a Windows box and show you, but it's just basically another Windows share. It appears as a local disk to that drive. As far as anything in the network is concerned, it is a local disk. So I can actually, if I'm using whatever products I want to do, I can have my files located on my local disk, and then I can copy them over to the TwinStrata drive, which appears as a local disk, and that gets automatically replicated to the cloud. So now you have your local copies and you have your off-site copies for increased redundancy in your data.
You've moved from storage to disaster recovery. What's next for TwinStrata?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to ask Nikos that one.
Nikos, Mike pointed me back to you.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the evolution of TwinStrata from storage to disaster recovery.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, it's all about giving you access to your data and giving you better access to the cloud. So in terms of getting more applications in the cloud and in terms of getting access to your big data, you're going to see more solutions coming your way from TwinStrata that will enable you to do that. And in the meantime, I'd also like you to have this penguin. This is our disaster recovery penguin. So because we make disaster recovery so much better, it's so much faster than typical tape, so much less expensive. We save you over 90% over traditional disaster recovery. We're telling people to take disaster recovery out of the ice age, and that's really the story there with the penguin.
Well, Nikos, thank you. You've gone from storage hogs to disaster recovery penguins. Let's hope that your clients don't experience a zoo in their cloud environments.
Thank you.
I'm Erik Linask here at Cloud Expo. Be sure to check out all of our Cloud Expo coverage in the TMC Video Newsroom.